And I should also say that we have actually a fourth customer. We have Hans from Ahola from Finland here with us, who will also be joining in on one of the stations with Henrik Henriksson talking about softwares and systems, which is very interesting because Hans himself has developed a very advanced logistics support system software for his fleet. Good. The idea of the stations is to give you, compared to this, a much more informal setting where you really get a chance to do what I said before, really get a chance to talk to the people, interact, ask questions, discuss, debate, and of course also question our reasoning. We appreciate that. We have 3 of the best CEOs in our industry present, and they are prepared to take on any challenge. So back to now. So this seems to be the older Mr. Levin. I started in spring, and from this traditional Anglo-American culture, in the first 100 days I had my chance to change everything and get us into the right direction. Bad for me, I didn't. I did the opposite, didn't change anything in the first 100 days. But I spent a lot of time traveling the TRATON world. I met with our different functions, I met with our different sites, with our different brands, and foremost with a lot of people, trying really to understand where are we, what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what are our challenges, in short. So to get a platform for change. And what struck me was that wherever you go in our universe, you find absolutely fantastic world-class people and capacities, competencies. But what you don't find is all of that in one location. And I think that is very much what my responsibility within TRATON and the CEO office, and by the way, the whole TRATON is about. It's about transferring all these pieces of fantastic competencies to everyone so that we lift the level of the whole group. So that sharing is something I would like to introduce into my portfolio responsibilities in our matrix. So it spans from R&D and product planning over to purchasing, our alliances that Andreas was into with our partnering brands, the alliance partners, over to how we also set up our future production network. Now we do this in a matrix, so it's the brands and it's us, and our responsibility is to create the arenas where people can meet, where people can be transparent, and where people can share these practices. And experts are not necessarily trustful to each other when they meet. There is competition, there is history, but when you come into the technical details, that's where magic happens. But it takes time. It's a stepwise approach. It's not a revolutionary approach. We let this take some time, and we base it on finding common principles. Because again, it's about a community thinking the same way. When you think the same way, you will come up with very similar methods, and that's where synergies are created for the group. And with that comes, of course, the responsibility to also set the governance structure around this system. Sounds easy, right? It's not. It's darn difficult, but it's also a very, very exciting challenge. So I must say I like it a lot. I know many of you have seen this picture, but I still think it's a great one. This is Manhattan City in a very changing period. On the left, from your side, yes, the left, you see a city or a street full of horses and carriages. That's how transport was done in Manhattan, at least in the 1900s. 13 years later, same street, same Manhattan. If you look hard, I think there's one horse. The rest is cars. I think on the other, if you look really hard, there is one horse, or one car amongst the horses. So there was early adopters also. Now, of course, you cannot generalize. You cannot say that, okay, this is the kind of change we're looking for. In 13 years, the world will completely change. But I think since then, the magnitude of change that we're facing now, when we go into the new technology areas, is not similar, but it's 2- or 3-fold bigger. So when we look on a street in Manhattan in 13 years, well, it might be so that you see vehicles without cabs, without drivers, fully electrified. It might so be so. And we have to be prepared for that. I don't think it will happen everywhere. It will not go that fast everywhere. But it starts now and it starts somewhere. And we need to be on that boat. We have the CO2 legislation that is supporting us. In Europe, 2025, we need to cut 15%. That's possible also with traditional technologies. By 2030, we need to cut another 15 to come to 30. Then it's not possible anymore to do that with traditional combustion technology. And we need to be electrified. So we get some support from the system around us, but of course we also need the help from the politicians to create other prerequisites like charging infrastructure or availability of H2 to be successful. So for us this is a challenge. This is a technological challenge, and coming on top of the challenge to working together as a group to combine our resources within the engineering community in a smart way. So we are very humble about the difficulty of doing this in a what Andreas calls a startup company, only 4 years old. But we're also very, very confident that it's doable. And there are advantages to it. We will come back to that, but the three perspectives, why is that important? Why is software and system important to us? Well, it was already said that 30% of our engineers are working within that area, and that's growing very, very quickly. Software is in everything. The electrical architecture is a crucial thing for us to harmonize within the group. And software is part of the delivery to our customers. In the future, we will not deliver hardware to customers. We will deliver solutions, systems, and software and IT will be an integral part of that. Modularization, why is that so important? Well, because that's the smartest way to combine tailor making with long series of components, hence industrialization and low costs. And finally, collaboration and people, yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's working in a group, but it's also working with external partners, stakeholders, in a rational way. So let me go deeper, starting with modularization. And modularization is our answer to creating true, what I call true synergies. True synergies is not only cost. That's the first thing you think about, okay? You think about, okay, more trucks together, you will save cost. Well, it's not that easy. It's not at all that easy. True synergies is about making our customers more profitable, hence increasing our pricing power. So making us more profitable, and at the same time also reducing cost by eliminating double work and unnecessary components. And this is the old dilemma in the automotive industry. How do you combine this? How do you combine really long series where industrialization and scale kicks in with customer demands of tailor-made solutions? And most companies say this is impossible. They go for either. Either you go for mass market standardization and you get really good cost structure into your product cost, but you also get a product that is average. And at least in our industry, average is not something at least any of you guys would want. You want something that is tailored to your specific need, because that's how you become more competitive and profitable. You can go the other way and go completely into tailor making of industrial products. That is possible. Some companies do that successfully, but volumes are of course very limited, and the price you need to charge is extremely high. So usually that's also not a good strategy.